Let's check out how to go from this to this. So this is my setup. I've got two softbox lights. One of them's turned off just so you can kind of see it right now. I've got a little board that I don't want to get into what it was made for, but a special little board to set things on. And I've got this here camera mount, and basically it's just made out of 1x4s and 2x4s. And then I've got a 1x4 clamped on it and the camera clamped onto it. Let me flip this light on so you can see it maybe a little better. Got it clamped here, got the camera mounted here, pointed down, got it clamped on that. And really it's just a matter of taking the pictures. So let's do that. Hopefully I'm not gonna blind y'all too much. Now the key here is to line it up on camera, and I'll show you all what I mean in the picture afterwards. But you want to make sure that you have a little bit of space all around your painting, and you want to try to evenly distribute it as much as you can, because it'll make your job easier later on when you're editing it. So that looks good to me. I'm going to snap a picture. I have it set on like a 3-second timer or something, but I'm gonna snap a picture and just let it do its thing. That picture looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that one out, and we're gonna put in our next painting. Now this one is probably gonna be a bit of a pain because it actually has a bit of a wobble to it. But again, that's something that we should be able to take out in editing later. Alright, that looks good, so I'm going to snap a picture. Boom. Alright, so the only thing left here is to get stuff picked up and hop into the computer. So, I'll see you there. Alright, so here we are on the computer, and I've got all the pictures put into my computer, into the folder here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the latest one, I'm going to right click on it and open with GIMP. Let it load up, do its thing. Alright, so we've got it here. First things first, you probably noticed that this is a little askewed. It's a little bit wider at the top than it is at the bottom. You can fix that whenever you're taking the photo, but I'm lazy, so I took the photo, and what I'm going to do first off is go up here and go to View. Go down and click Show Grid. Now, you can't really tell nothing with that, so we want to go to Image, and then all the way down here to Configure Grid. And all we're going to do is we're just going to add a 0 to the end of that, and it's going to do it on both sides, vertical and horizontal, and we're going to hit OK. Now, again, you can definitely see, if you look, I don't know if you can see my cursor very well, but you can see that line is real off right there. You can really see it over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the perspective tool. We're going to click on the tool and then click on the image anywhere really. And basically you can grab anywhere, but just grab it and kind of drag it over until it looks about right. And that looks about right there. I'm just working on this one line at a time. So I've got this one line there that looks about right. You can hold down Control and then use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out, and then your mouse wheel without using control, just your mouse wheel by itself, zoom or scrolls up and down on the picture. So that looks about good. If you use shift in your mouse wheel, it'll go side to side, and we can see that it dips down and then dips back up here. So what we can do here again is we can grab it and just kind of try and keep it in line with both of those lines there and drag it down a little. Alright, so that looks better. I'm going to do the same thing over here and just grab it for the time being and just kind of drag it straight down. Alright, now let's look at this here. This is all kinds of wonky, so what we're going to do is we're going to say about halfway between that one, we're going to grab it and we're just going to stretch it over. And we're going to hope that that doesn't mess with our perspective of the planets looking like eggs or anything. No, looks pretty good. I'm actually going to drag it over just a wee bit more. And that should look good. Alright, now the top, it's a little bit darker up there, so it's kind of harder to see. Let's just grab this and just drag it down. Make it in line there. Alright, and you don't have to be real precise with this, because we're going to be cropping it out here in a second too. So that looks good to me. Zoom out. Again, using a combination of control and shift. Shift lets you go side to side. Like control and mouse wheel. Zooms in. Shift and mouse wheel. Let me zoom in some more. Shift and mouse wheel goes side to side. And then mouse wheel by itself goes up and down. So let's just get this centered up here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Never mind the edges around here. We're looking at just the painting. Alright, that looks squared up. So what we're going to do now, since we still have this perspective tool, we're going to hit enter. That's going to do its transformation, and boom. Alright, now obviously we want to crop out anything that is not part of the painting. So I'm going to go up here to rectangle select tool. And don't worry if you don't get it right, just kind of put it down where it needs to be. Alright, now you can zoom in and you see you get this little yellow bar here that lets you move it in and out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it right at the edge. You can see where the canvas rolls over right here and the light was hitting the side of it. We want to crop that out. So let me zoom in a little more here so you can really see it. And we can go just a touch further. So boom, we got that. Alright, now this one, that one, let's say just a touch more down too. Because a lot of this you're seeing down here is shadow, not part of the canvas, I think. Alright, now this one we definitely have to go over with. So let's base it on the bottom here. So going over to maybe a tiny bit more. And you can see the all in this area. Well, actually that is part of the painting there. But you can see it's a little bit brighter on the canvas here. That's not too big of a deal with what I'm doing, but if that was a pretty major deal with yours, that's a matter of where you put your lights at. So like I said, it's not a huge deal for what I'm doing. Alright, now let's do this top one. That one, even though there's shadow, it's all black, so we can go up a little bit there. Maybe down a little further, right about there. Alright. Alright, that looks good. So we have it selected. Let's come up here to select, or actually image, and crop to selection. So it's going to change your canvas size from what it was originally to what you just selected. Alright, so now we no longer need to see the grid. You know, it's useless now. It just gets in our way. Alright, so we've got that. That's pretty cool so far. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save this. And I'm going to save it as, which one's this one? This one is, oh, no. I'll save this one as 09, blind 9, and that's it. I'm going to save it. Alright, now I like to rename all of these. Like this one I'm going to rename OG Sharpened, because that's going to be the first thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see the lines of the canvas here. Maybe scroll over some. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to go to Filters, and then Enhance, and down to Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. I'll click on it. I don't know if you can really tell, but it sharpens it up just a bit. Yeah, you can kind of tell in this area right here. It gets a little blurry when it's off, and then I turn the preview on. Boom. So I'm going to do that once, and I'm actually going to do it twice. And basically it kind of just brightens everything up, sharpens everything up, makes it a little bit nicer on the eyes, working in, you know, digital, I guess. So do that 2 times. You can't really quite tell the difference, but it works for what I'm going to be doing here. Alright, so we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and save it one more time. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to right click on it, come up here to duplicate layer, and this one I'm going to call OG Sharpened Saturated, because I'm going to saturate and pull out those colors a lot. Make sure we're clicked on that one, not the original one. Clicked on that one, and we're going to go up to Colors and start with just saturation. Now I'm just going to bump the saturation up. I'm going to play with it, grab it, and drag it all the way over. That's a little too much. Let's see. That's the original. That's that. I'm going to go a little higher than that one. And see, you have this little arrow on the top part of this bar, and then you have these 2 arrows on the bottom side. This one, wherever the arrow's pointed, that's what it's going to drop it to. So you can see that basically pulls all the color out of it there. You know, and that's about where it was. And you can click anywhere on this bar and make it go there, or you can grab here and drag, and your cursor will just keep moving. And then whenever you stop moving, it'll preview it. So I'm gonna go with maybe something like 2.5-ish, somewhere around there. That looks good. I'm gonna preview it, turn the preview off, turn it back on. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we're gonna go with that. Alright, so again, that bumped up our colors. You can really tell in the orange area, but that really bumped up our colors there. So now we're going to go back over to colors, and I'm going to go down to shadows and highlights. Now this one's a little tricky. I just kind of play with it and see what it does. I go up on the shadows, and that decreases the shadows. I go down, and it makes everything a little bit darker. And that's kind of what I want. I want it to, let's see, reset. That's what it is initially. I want the darks to be a little bit darker. So maybe something like that. And then the highlights, again, I just kind of play with it and, you know, see. I come down here and turn the white point adjustment down or up, you know, see what it does. Turn the radius down, compress down, you know, and just, you know, or compress. and just kind of play with it. See that? I don't quite like that one, so I'm gonna drop it down a little more, maybe about like there. And radius, and I like it down here. Yeah, it makes it a little bit darker right around those areas. And again, I'm just going in and just kind of playing with things, seeing what it does. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see, what does that do to the whites now? See, turn highlights all the way down, and that just obviously looks terrible. I mean, we don't want to go. Maybe we do. No, we don't want to go too high because that just blows all of this out here. So maybe just a little bit higher than it was to bring out those whites a little more. See, that's the original, and then yeah, I'm trying to bring out some of these whites in here and make it just a little bit brighter. So I'd say somewhere around there, around 40 or so looks good for this. And let's just play around with shadows a little more. Yeah, definitely want the shadows down here some more. I mean, it is space after all. And I don't know if you can kind of tell here, but you can see how it's a little bit more blue in this area and a little bit more blue here. A lot of this is, white paint, but some of this is just the lights coming in from the side bouncing off of it. That's part of why you don't want an overhead light when you're doing this, because the reflection is just going to show right up on the picture. So I'd say that looks good for now. I'm going to preview what it was initially and then what it looks like now. See, it just kind of brings out the darks a little bit more, brings out the lights a little bit more. I mean, it is Shadow's highlights tool, so I'm going to hit OK on that. That looks pretty good. Go ahead and save again, just because. Alright, let's go to... And again, I kind of come in here and just play with them. See, brightness, contrast. Let's see what that does for it. Nah, I don't really like how that looks. Brightness, that's just going to pop the shadows out, blow them out, so nah, we're not going to mess with that one. Let's see, exposure. Oh, I don't know, that kind of pops everything out a little bit. That's way too much, obviously, but let's see what this black level will do here for us. That makes it a little bit darker. Okay, so let's pop the exposure up just a little bit. Again, bring out some more of those whites, and then let's bump that black level up a bit more too. Maybe not that much. I don't know. Let's see, what does that look like compared to the original? Zoom in on it and just get a different perspective on it. Just pop it back and forth, back and forth. I don't know, I think I'm losing a lot of the tan colors that are right in here in the planet. That's just blowing them out, making them real white. But that's not necessarily a bad thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna reset those and try again here. Yeah, let's go with that. That's just a little bit better. Maybe a bit higher on the dark. And zoom out and get a different perspective on it again. So it's real subtle. It's real subtle. And actually it affects this big planet the most, it seems. Alright, let's go with that. Now let's see. We want to do... Let's check out Hue Chroma. Let's see what that one does for us. Hue obviously is going to basically totally screw up the colors and change it, through an RGB scale here. So Let's not do hue at all. Let's leave it all alone. Chroma though, what chroma does is, correct me if I'm wrong, it brings out more blues. You know, like chroma key for when you're doing like a green screen or something. So, I mean, a little bit of blue is okay, but we don't want too much. And lightness, again, that's just going to blow all those blacks out and lighten everything up. So we don't really want to do that either. But maybe we'll do a little adjustment to the chroma. Let it blue everything up a little. Let it blue this up a little more so it looks more like it's supposed to be there, you know, and everything's not super black everywhere. So let's do something like that. And let's see, preview it versus the original. Yeah, again, it's real subtle, but it brings the blue out in this planet a little bit more, brings more blue out here. So we're going to click OK on that and do that. Just a little chroma. Alright, and let's do, we'll leave hue saturation. This one's a little tricky. You know, you can have the master, and you can change the hue. It switches it all up, goes to an RGB scale. You know, so I mean, you have all kinds of variations you can make here if you wanted to. You know, but I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna go and just kind of play around with them on lightness and maybe saturation. You know, that basically that brings out more of the blues, a little bit more of the blues, makes it a little bit purple down in here. Let's see. Yeah, makes it a little bit deeper purple right in here. Watch this area right here at the shadow part of this bottom planet. See, it brings it out just a little more purple. So I'll drop it down a bit. Maybe bump the lightness up. No, we don't want to bump the lightness up. So I'm going to just reset and bump that saturation up. That looks good. Oh wait, nope. Reset. I'm going to do it on the blue. Every time you hit reset down here, it changes it back to the master. So we're going to hit the blue, bump that up just a little bit, because it's mainly affecting this side over here. It doesn't really seem to affect anything. It affects a little bit of purple right here, but that's good. So we'll hit OK on that, but we'll come back up here and we'll do the same thing again. Colors and hue saturation. Bring it up again. Okay, so we got some pinks in here, so let's go to the magenta. And again, let's bump its saturation up and see what it does. Oh yeah, that brings out a lot in there. You know, look right in here. It brightens it up, makes it a little bit of a pop to it. So I'm gonna bump that just all the way up. It adds a little pink line right in here, a little bit up there. Yeah, a little bit of pink highlights around in that planet, and it bumps these up some more. So I like that. Let's see what lightness does to it. And see, you get too light and you start getting pixelated. Let me zoom in so you can really see that. See, it just distorts it too much. It like brings it out way too much. So I'm going to reset all that and then bump the saturation all the way back up to 100. Because I like the way it looks. Yeah. See, it doesn't really affect all the whites down in here, but it adds a little bit of pink right in here, a little bit of hot pink. So I like the way that looks. So we'll hit OK on that one again. Oh wait a minute. We gotta reset it again. Reset everything. Make sure we're on magenta. Because then if you're not on magenta, you're on the master, it'll start kind of affecting other things differently. And we don't want to mess with the lightness, so hit OK on that. Brought out a lot of the colors that are actually in the painting. I mean, I'm making it a little bit brighter, but the camera takes pictures with a little bit less saturation. That's kind of what you want. So let's do hue saturation one more time, and maybe we'll come down and do yellow and see if we can bring out some of the yellows and greens in this. No, that didn't really seem to do much of anything. Yeah, that did basically nothing. So we'll reset that and we'll try green. Nothing. See, that's what I mean. This is kind of tricky. So we'll reset and let's try the reds. Brings out a little bit in here. But it doesn't really seem to do anything for these planets. See, like I said, it's kind of a hit or miss thing. So, that's about all we're going to do there. Alright, it's starting to look pretty decent. Let's see, do we have anything else we want to play with here? Let's just check out curves. Curves, again, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just playing around with it. You go down this way and it's going to make things darker and a little more contrasty, I guess. And then up this way, it's going to blow everything out. And I don't know if that's what you're looking for. That's awesome, but I'm not really looking for that. I'm just looking for a little bit of a change. See, I go up a little bit and it makes everything a little bit bluer. If I go down, it darkens those shadows a little more. So let's reset it and let's try to go for just a tad under. Let's see. I don't like it. Let's try again. Let's go for a tad over. Yeah, I like that. It brings out a lot of the brighter spots in here, a lot of the highlights. Seems to bring those out just a little bit more. So we'll do that. We'll hit OK on that. Alright. So, let's zoom out here, get everything centered. We're going to save it. Oh, no mouse time. Alright. Now I'm going to come over here to our layers. I'm going to right click on the one we've been working on and I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, and you can turn all these off. See, that's the original. And then that's what we've got there. I love it. I love it. Alright, so we're on this new one here. OG Sharpened Saturated. Now I'm going to rename this one OG Sharpened Saturated Zoom Blur. Alright. Now I'm going to duplicate this one again. And I'm just going to rename the whole thing Water Pixels. And again, wait, no, we don't duplicate it yet. This one, Water Pixel one, make sure we're selected on it. And this one's all up to you. This one's just to kind of show you how to do it. We're going to go to Filters up at the top, go down to Artistic, and then just, you can select most of these, you know, they do different things. You know, it'll give you a little description of what it does. But I'm going to go with Water Pixels because this one ends up looking kind of neat. And I'm just going to click Water Pixels. Wait a minute. Let it do its thing. Because it's doing something. Actually, I have preview turned off. But so we can click that on and let it do its thing. If preview's already on yours, just, again, leave it alone. It is doing something. It's calculating and reconfigurating and mathematizing and algebraing and all kinds of stuff. And see, there it goes. And it gives it this kind of water painted sort of effect, but it's interesting. It condenses the colors down to, you know, a select amount of colors, but it's interesting. You can play around with all these different sizes here and everything, but I like how it looks by itself without messing with anything. So I'm just going to hit OK. And now I'm going to duplicate that same one again. And I'm going to call it Water Pixels Zoom Blur. Alright. Now, let's go back to this first one. Hit the little eyeball lock right here on that one and that one, and it'll make them disappear, so you're only working on this one. Make sure you've got it selected. We're going to go up here to Filters, Blur, and then over to Zoom Motion Blur. I'm going to click on it. It's going to preview and do its thing. And boom, that looks interesting. This is where it's centered at. I actually want it to be centered over this, I guess, white planet, this white star here. So I'm just going to play around with it here. I'm actually going to hit turn preview off so that it's not constantly trying to, restart the preview. And I'm just going to drag, while I'm watching this area here, I'm going to drag and move these just down to the center of that planet as best as I can get it. Alright, that looks good. And now hit preview again. And let it do its thing, let it calculate and algebrate. Alright, that looks pretty good. Since I'm animal retentive and I've done this on every other one, I'm going to do 0.112 on my blurring factor. It worked on one of them and looked good, and it's worked on the rest of them. So stick with what works, right? Alright, and it's done. Alright, that looks cool. That looks pretty damn cool. And go ahead and hit OK. And boom, we have that one done. Alright, now let's go back up here to water pixels. Let's click on the top one, the water pixels zoom blur. Again, filters, blur, zoom motion blur. I'm going to turn preview off. I'm going to adjust the X and Y coordinates. And center it up on that planet. That looks good. I'm going to set this to 0.112 and then hit preview and let it do its thing. See, these water pixel ones, they look a little bit like slower, if that makes any sense, than the other ones. Like I'll show you here in a second. Alright, let's compare this one to that one. See, that one seems like you're going faster, Ricky Bobby. You're going fast. And that one's, you're still kind of going fast. I mean, it's pretty damn quick, but not quite as fast as that one. So, alright, we're going to hit OK on that. So, let's go ahead and take a look at all these we got here. We got the original one here. I'm going to try and make it fit all the way in the screen. Yeah, almost. That'll work. We got the original one, and then one that we messed with the saturation levels. And then we zoom it in, and then we've got the water pixels, and then we've got water pixels zoom blur. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit save all of that, and I'm going to turn all of these off except for the saturated OG sharpened saturated zoom blur. And leave that one on, make sure I've got it selected, and I'm going to come over here to export. Click export, go to where you want it saved at. I want it saved there. I want it saved as blind9_01 because I've got the water pixels, and the number is just, the first number is just to kind of keep them in order for me, and then the last number is to keep them in order of how many different prints I've made of them, or how many different copies I've made of them. So save it as that, hit export. When this screen pops up, I don't really ever mess with any of it. All I do is make sure I save it as a PNG, but hit export. Let it do its thing. Since there's so many layers in here and all different types of filters and whatnot going on, this is going to take a minute to export out. But whenever it gets done exporting, we're going to hop into Printful, and we're going to see how to take this picture, this piece of artwork, your original artwork that you have edited and got the colors how you want and got it looking exactly how you want, and we're going to see how to put that onto a poster or a print or whatever. We're going to mess with posters, but it applies to all different types of products on there. So I hope to see y'all there. So this is what our edited picture looks like after exporting it from GIMP. Let's zoom in and just look around at it. It's interesting. But how do we make this into a product like a poster or a t-shirt or something like that? Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to my Printful account. If you don't already have a Printful account, I'm not going to go over how to create one and get it all set up. There's plenty of tutorials on that. This is just going to be how to create a product template and put your art into it. So as you can see, I've already got a whole bunch of different product templates already set up for some of my other artwork. Normally what I do is I go here and I just duplicate one of these and work from it, but I'll come back to that in a little bit. First, I'm going to show you how to create just a new template. So what you're going to do is you're going to log into your Printful account, you're going to go over to your product templates tab and just click new template. Now it's going to give you all different types of products and collections and whatnot here, but what we're going to do for the case of this is, I believe it's home and living, no, maybe it's accessories, nope, it's one of these. Posters, wall art, right there. Alright, so we're going to click on posters, and it's again going to give us a wide variety of them here. I'm going to go with this one here, premium luster photo paper poster in inches, not centimeters, and just click on it. Okay, so that's selected the product that you have. This is, a preview of what your product is going to look like over here. I don't worry about selecting my orientation right now because it should do it exactly how I want. I do not want all sizes here, so I'm going to actually deselect most all of them. I only want, at least for the sake of this, and this is, I've gone through and looked at how it looks with like a 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. It doesn't look right, not with this particular series of artwork paintings that I've done. So I'm going to select only 16 by 20, 18 by 24, and 24 by 36. Okay, now you can, just drop your design here. So I already have a window open for that. So I'm just going to take my design and just drop it right there. Now it's going to upload and it's going to give you a little mock-up preview of how your artwork will look on a poster. So it takes a little bit of time to do it. Alright, so this isn't quite the mock-up. There's another mock-up here. This is basically just the file and showing you the safe areas that you can print at. Let's start over here with 16 by 20. That basically fills up most of it. There's a little bit coming off of the edge on either side here. You can see that little tiny blue dotted line, and it looks like there might be a little bit on the bottom here. That's fine. Maybe I'll move it up just a little bit. Not that much. Right there. And then I'm going to hit center horizontally just to make sure it's centered back up. Alright, that looks good for 16 by 20, so I'm going to leave it like that. I'll come over to the 18 by 24. I think it needs to come up a little bit. So I'm going to drag it up. It'll snap to that line. So I'm going to drag it up and snap it to that so that these planets are a little more inside of the safe area. I mean, that little bit right there on that larger planet isn't as big of a deal as a little bit on all three of these planets. So drag it up. That looks good for the 18 by 24. And let's see. This one is, I don't know. This one's a little bit different. So it actually looks like it didn't fit all the way on there. That's weird. Oh well, I'll center it up. So I'd say maybe about like that looks good. And then again, center it horizontally. Yeah, it's weird. It looks like it actually doesn't come all the way over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just increase the size of it a tiny little bit to get it to go to that edge. And then again, center it. I don't know. That centering seems to want to resize it. So I'm going to zoom that back out. And alright, I'm going to say that looks good. Now it says part of your design layer is outside the print area. That's completely fine. Now you can upload another file. You can add text to this. I mean, they got a pretty rich text editor here. So you can add text to it. You can add little clip arts to it. You know, all different types of stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload my own file, upload a PNG. Now I've actually already got it right here. But as you notice, I've got a couple of them right here. I've got one that has a black background to it, and that doesn't quite work well for this. But it is a PNG, but it's not a transparent. This one is transparent. It's just the white logo on it. So I'm going to select it. If you don't already have yours in here with these, just click upload, choose your file, and click open, and it'll say right here on the button how much percentage it's uploaded. It'll take, just a little bit, and then it'll pop it down here in one of these. So I'm going to click choose on this one, and it's going to give me a super large picture there. And see, since it's so large, it's saying poor 61 DPI dots per inch, or there's another term for it. But you want it to be a little bit higher than that. You want it to be about 200 to 300, average. So that seems like a problem, but it's really not. All we got to do is we got to make sure we're clicked on that layer and just drag it down. You get it down there, boom, good, 218 DPI. That little message goes away. Not really a problem. So I'm going to bring it down to the corner, and I'm just going to keep decreasing that size until I get about what I want. And I'm just going to put it right here at the edge of the dotted line for the safe print area. I'll put it right there. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. Now, again, you have to go back and do this for every single one of the versions that you have. That's part of the reason why I only want 3. It's not the main reason, but it's part of the reason I'm glad I only have 3, I should say. So, again, we just come in here and drag it down to about what we want. I'd say that's a little bit too big. Drag it down a little more. Position it. Let's say, look at that one. That's about the right size. And do it third time for your other print file. Bring it down here and compare the sizes. Maybe it could be just a skosh bigger. Alright, that looks pretty good for all 3 of those. So, we don't want a print area background color, at least with this. I don't think we do. Let me double check something here real quick. I'm going to click on this just to make sure I have it selected. And I'm going to actually drag it up just a bit. No, up. I said up. Let's try this. It looks like there's a tiny bit that's inside, but I'm not positive of that. So what we'll do from here, since we've got all that done, let's click over here on mockup view instead of the file view, and this will take a little bit to process and generate, and we can go and look and see, do we see like an obvious white line at the very tip top here? I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong. That's part of why you order samples once you have all of these mocked up and created and everything. You order a sample, see if it works, and then, from there you can make other adjustments to it. So, I like the way that looks so far. So see, we have 6 different versions here. You've got just the painting with the little paperclip things holding it up, and then a girl holding it up. And it's It's supposed to be, you know, true size. This one's supposed to be a 24 inch by 36 inch, so that looks about right. Normally what I'll do here is I'll right click on this and I'll save image just to have it so I don't have to go through the whole process of creating a mock-up to download and all that. I just save that image. But what you do from here is click continue and give it a name and then hit save product template. If this is your first product, go ahead and do that. Since this is not my first product and I want to make sure that my logo remains the same on each one of these, at least size wise, I'm going to go ahead and hit exit out of this. I do not want to save this one. That's just me. You should save that one if it's your first one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to this one. And the reason I'm choosing this one is because my logo is on the right side of it, as almost every single one of them is. This one, you couldn't quite see it because that side, that corner is white, so I put my logo on the left. But this one, I'm going to hit these three little dots and I'm going to hit duplicate. I'm not going to worry so much about it loading its image and everything. I'm just going to hit view and then right underneath here, edit product template. Now this is going to basically bring me up and have everything already there for me. All I have to do is change the main picture that's there. So I'm going to go to design. I'm going to take this right here, the painting that was in there, the picture that was in there, and I'm just going to delete it. Then I'm going to go to upload file, and I'm going to choose this one that I just uploaded a little bit ago. Again, I would normally be clicking upload here, but I'm going to choose it. And now what I have to do is make sure that this layer, my logo, is above that layer of the painting so that it actually shows up on there. You know, just like layers in Photoshop or GIMP or any of that. Now what we want to do is we want to look at it again, make sure, okay, everything looks good there. That one could maybe come up just a tiny bit. That looks pretty good. And then that one, it looks like I need to do the same thing on it, increase its size just a bit. And then probably drag it up some too. Well, I don't know. I don't know that I have to increase the size. Maybe I do. Let's just center it like that. Now, go up. Okay, about there, and then center it horizontally. Again, I don't know if that's on the edges, so I'm going to go to my mockup view, let it do its thing. I'm going to go to this one, and it does kind of look like there's a little bit of white edge right there. So I'm going to go back to the file view, make sure I'm on this one, and I'm again going to just increase the size of that just a skosh. That should do it. And let's go back to mockup view. Since I changed something, it has to regenerate the mockups. I'll come back to it. I don't see a white line on either of those there. So that should be good. Yeah, that looks good. So that's pretty much exactly how you do it. How I do it, at least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this image again. I want it here, then mockups, and this one is 09 blind 9, just mockup 24 by 36. Alright, and I'm gonna save that. Okay, you don't have to do that. I just do that kind of for my own records, really. Alright, that is how I want it, so I'm gonna hit continue. I'm gonna rename it again, 09 blind 901. because I may do different versions of it. So I name it 01, and I'm just going to hit Save Product Template. And we can click up here and go back to all of our product templates and see all of them at once. I'm going to set that to A to Z, even though it's putting that one there instead of here for some reason. Sometimes it takes a second for whatever reason. There it goes. Alright. Try this one more again. There we go. Now it's got it in line. Alright, so there's our new product template. View it, and you can add to store. You can make an order of your own. From here, it's a little bit more complicated. Again, you should probably watch a tutorial on how to use this, on how to get it set up with your own store, your own website, and everything. But beyond that, this is how you create a product template. You can reuse that template over and over again to make multiple of the same type of product. But that's it from A to Z. From A to Z, that's how you take a picture of your photo, or take a photo of your artwork. That's how you edit it inside of GIMP or Photoshop. There's mostly the same product. And then that's how you upload your artwork onto Printful to create a product, create a poster. So I hope this was informative for y'all. I know I actually kind of learned a lot in the process of making this video. So, alright, y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good one.